Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm doing a video that is actually some good news for a change. So, as I referred to in a prior video, the restrictions in Madison, Wisconsin that were implemented in mid November were some of the most extreme things I've ever heard of in my life. I mean, other than the enforcement, which probably wasn't what probably was pretty lax, it was among the worst in the country as far as the virus crisis. So, um, my opinion is that it was frankly unconstitutional and a bunch of bullshit, telling people that they could not have anybody in their house that didn't live there. That's essentially what it said. So there were some lawsuits. I actually contacted a lawyer, a law office, a controversial law office, nevertheless, which one of my friends sort of scolded me about because they've been known for some very far right religious cases, which I was unaware of. They actually did have some. They did have some left wing clients as well from time to time. But it turns out there were other people doing the. There were other people already doing a lawsuit against the city of Madison at the same time. So I didn't even need to do a thing, and I never, they never contacted me back. It was just more of a philosophical inquiry into doing a lawsuit for Madison's frankly unconstitutional bullshit ban on gatherings. But the good news is, as of yesterday, there's two things. There's actually a couple things that really strike me as very positive developments in this situation. So basically, we're back to summer, sort of summerish level of restrictions, which surprises me. Nevertheless, I mean, it surprises me in some ways. It's very positive development because what are you going to do? Are you going to bust down people's doors and tell them they can't have one more person that doesn't live there? And summer, there are people out at restaurants and bars here and there. And I guess I'm not certain about the bars thing. I have to read that because I still see people in bars here and there. They're still at the bar drinking, but at some of the bars. So that I'm not completely sure of. I know restaurants have a 25% capacity thing, but you can go, I guess there was an indoor ban, which I didn't know about with this last set of restrictions that they obviously rescinded. Indoor dining ban, which I didn't even I didn't even notice it because I guess some people were just kind of violating, frankly. It was just like in Illinois when I went on that date in November. We went to a restaurant which technically wasn't legal to be open. So it's kind of funny. So for one, they have up to 10 people inside a house. You have to socially distance and wear a mask, which is frankly impossible to socially distance in some people's houses and apartments. So the way that they enforce that, well, it's just like in summer. I don't think they will. Just like in summer and fall, when this whole thing started, I think it's probably just, symbolic at this point, or, trying to save face. It's just it's for show. Now, the second thing that was surprising was 50% capacity at businesses. Not at restaurants, but just businesses in general, which I don't think that was in any of the previous lifting of restrictions or further restrictions. I think it was still 25% for a long time. They actually made a move to make it 50%, which is actually, and I'm not totally certain. I'll have to read through all the guidelines. There's been so many of the fucking rules and rulings that it gets a little confusing, like 5 or 6 of them or something like that for the city. And then not to mention the state too. So that's a positive development too. But there's one thing that's really been the bone of contention with people. That the more alarmist soothsayers as far as the virus goes, and that's in-person schooling for the first time. And I don't know when they stopped in-person classes. It might have been the spring. I think it was the spring. The first time since spring, since this whole thing began, they're going to have in-person classes in Madison, in Dane County, which I was surprised by because there were people in the in the local government that were like, no, we can't do that. And then the God Fauci, our God who knows everything, he said that in-person classes could be safe and fine. So all of a sudden they're changed their mind with on a flip because he said it. Oh, he must be right about everything. So, which fucking ridiculous, of course. However, there are still people on the other side that are saying, "Oh God, we can't have that. Oh my God, oh my God, is you know." And I saw people on Twitter today that saying, "Oh no, we can't have any gatherings." You know, so just proves to you that sometimes the most extreme voices will eventually just get bulldozed into nothingness. You know, I mean, it that sounded like a bad metaphor, by the way. I don't know, but yeah, it's good news because it's lessening the restrictions, which should be lessened. At least, and some people say there should be no restrictions. Obviously, I'm not gonna talk about what I think about that in this video. I've already said a lot of what I've had to say with these videos, but it's good news, and it's good news not only because I'm not going to be afraid to go to someone's house and get arrested and fined $1,000 or even go on a date because, I mean, there's a coffee shop by my house, in-person dining, you can go, and I don't think most of these restaurants are not asking if a person is a member of your household. I know that for a fact. I see people out of these restaurants or coffee shops that are not members of each other's household. Granted, there's not a lot of huge groups, but there's even a restaurant down the street from my house. I've seen people, huge groups of people, not huge groups of people, but 5, 6 people at a table and stuff. There's no way they all live together. Oh, we all live in one apartment, whatever. What is it, 1910 in New York or something? What the fuck? Anyways, so it's good news. They should have never had that household thing in the first place because it's frankly just fucking ridiculous. But I guess there was enough uproar or the lawsuits or science. Because the thing is, they were predicting all this huge hospital overload after Thanksgiving. And their article said, oh, that never happened. Our projections were wrong. I couldn't have predicted that. So, but the one thing about that, and just bear with me, a lot of the conspiratorial minds in the crisis are saying, no, they're going to continue to go down that road to totalitarianism, blah, blah, blah. They're not using real science. Now, this is one, but there are some communities that are actually looking, and whether or not you look at the numbers, at least, no, in this instance, they are using science because they're like, the numbers weren't as big as once thought, so we're going to loosen the restrictions. This is my theory, but with those lawsuits too. Wisconsin Center for Law and Liberty and all these, different organizations. But I'm very happy. It's a step towards getting back to normal. Depends on what happens with cases and deaths and all that. But for one, it's kind of a blow to the. I mean, this one small thing is a positive step towards getting out of that fear mentality or totalitarian tiptoeing, as Mr. Lizard People himself says in a lot of his books. It's a step away. It's a step away from this bullshit. And that makes me happy. And the fact that stores are still open. And I'm not sure about bars, as I said. I think they're still kind of weird. They're still kind of wary about bar stuff. And I think some of the bars are just functioning as restaurants, and then they have a bar, and then you can go up to the bar. It's frankly the same fucking thing. So I think that's what's going on. But it's a step in the right direction, and I'm not going to criticize it. I mean, these people should, I hope that it goes in this direction more. And obviously I'm not happy with everything with it, but it's a step in the right direction. And frankly, they've been so fucking bad. It makes, it's such a pathetic state of affairs with how bad it's been, Maybe they're just making it seem like, oh, here's your freedom back. You know, the conspiracy theorists will say that. Oh, they're just going this direction so they can fool you more when they roll out the new world order and the black helicopters and the mandatory Jacksonations and you know, the nanobots in the shots and all that. You know? Anyways, I don't know if that's gonna happen. One moment in time that they're actually using fucking science, I'm gonna credit them for that. A little bit of credit. It's a step in the right direction. That's all.